And couldn't the argument be made, Ian, that the game of golf at its highest competitive levels has actually improved, not necessarily from the product that is being offered to the people because the stars are on various tours, but from a player's perspective? Have they not benefited from Live coming on the scene with increased purses in these signature events?
Oh, in financial terms, they certainly have. There's no doubt about it. But the one word that kept coming up, certainly in the last 3 or 4 months, has been sustainable. How sustainable is this level of remuneration on both sides of the fence? Because Liv ultimately will need a return on their massive investment. They've got very, very deep pockets, as we know, and they can wait longer than most investors can. But nonetheless, the billions that are going in from SSG into the PGA Tour present another question as well, because there will be a demand for a return on that investment, and it's hard to see how that can be maximized when the game is fractured, and that applies to both sides of the equation, to the Live side and certainly the PGA Tour as well.
Notwithstanding one's opinion of Saudi Arabia and the sovereign fund, the public investment fund, has the sting of those who would be against it for whatever reasons they have, but has that sting diminished by the fact that this public investment fund is diversifying and is investing in so many of the world's major sports at the highest tier?
Well, it goes across the board, doesn't it? It goes across, if you, depending on which taxi you decide to ride in, that could well have Saudi Arabian investment in it as well. And that diversification certainly, I think, does kind of dilute that potential feeling of unease at doing business with Saudi Arabia. But from just the golf point of view, the very fact that the PGA Tour have decided to try and do a deal with Saudi Arabia, that changed the landscape massively. And we've heard John Rahm talk about that in the wake of his move to Live. I think it made it easier for him to do that, and do that in the hope, if not the knowledge, that potentially there could be a coming together that would allow him somewhere down the line to return and play the PGA Tour events that he would want to play. So, as I say, the landscape has changed. It was changed massively by June the 6th, and the aftershocks have continued to an extent that has profoundly changed the landscape going forward. The problem that the game has is that we don't know definitively what that landscape is yet. And I think there are more aftershocks to come.